Get myself right up on out of here. I feel like a disgrace, I'm not really what I appear. I go home to my girl and I make nicey nice. The fact that she don't know that I just put someone on. I don't like being here. I constantly live in fear. Could be gone at any time. When you live a life of crime, face the music, do the time. I'm trapped again, and fate as always hasn't wrapped again. I always get caught in my life of sin, but I just keep on going back again. You know I'm lost again, when all I wanted was to find a friend, someone that I can always depend on to help me find my life again. You know I'm trapped again. Welcome, everyone, to After the Dragon, presented by Mayhem Media. I am your host, JD, alongside Mayhem Media's vice president and co-host of After the Dragon, Mizpah. Mizpah, welcome back.
How's it going?
Hopefully next week we will have the After the Dragon official opening. I did not have time to get to it this past week, but I will this week. So for next week, we will have our own entrance for After the Dragon show. We just got done with episode 3, but before we dive into that, there's a couple things that even Mizpah and I missed in last week's episode that we wanted to talk about. One of those being the scene where Lord Corlys was on the dock talking to I did not write his name down. I should have did that. The one guy who saved his life, right?
Yeah.
And then later we see him talking to another guy who is his brother, and apparently both of those are his bastard sons, Lord Corlys's bastard sons.
Okay.
Which I did not know at the time. Apparently that's in the books, which they're getting to add to the TV series, which, I always like when they add stuff from the books to the TV series, keep it the way it is, because the original Game of Thrones went way off book. But I do like that they're including them, and that gives them their side 2 more dragon riders potentially, and potentially calls into question who's going to inherit Driftmark.
Yeah, it does.
If he decides to legitimize them or bring them into the fold in any way. I mean, and that kind of conversation between them there kind of looked like that might be the way we're going here with it.
Yeah, considering he said he's indebted to them.
Yeah. So I wanted to bring that up because that was something that I definitely missed. I thought that scene, I didn't know what that scene was there, but now it makes sense to me now that I know that. And I apologize for not being able, looking it up or doing any research before we went live last week that I didn't know that. And then the other thing that I wanted to draw attention to that I think we kind of just went over was the fact that Alicent did not comfort her daughter after Helena's child was killed. She immediately went right into trying to explain what she walked into, as if Helena gave a crap about what she walked in on after what just happened. And I thought that was very interesting.
Yeah, I thought that scene just kind of seemed a little just odd. And yeah, I couldn't quite figure out what it was till you pointed it out.
Yeah, and I think that's Alicent's. I think that's one of Alicent's flaws right there, is that
she is very selfish, I think, because she was not concerned about Helena's pain at all, even in this episode. Let's go now to episode 3. And please remember to hit the like button, whether you're watching this live or you're watching a reshow. Please hit the like button. Please share it out. That would really help us a lot. We want to continue to grow our After the Dragon series. But even in this week's episode, then, Helena was just like, I forgive you. Like, even her, it wasn't even a real apology that Alicent was offering, but Helena just forgave her.
Yeah, and even that seemed like there was a level of awkwardness there.
Yeah, it was weird. Yeah, it was weird. Alicent doesn't seem like she's doing a very, like, she's definitely selfish. She's not concerned so much about her kids, it seems like.
And it almost seemed like there was a little bit of an air of, you forgive me.
Yeah.
Why in the world should you forgive me? What did I do?
Yeah, I didn't really pick up on that, but I think you're right. I think you're definitely right. That was what that look was, because I was kind of interested. I was like, I looked at her and I'm like, how is she taking this? But I never considered it that way. Yeah, that's interesting. I think you might be right on that, actually. Also in this episode, they were at Harrenhal. That's where Daemon was.
Talk about a fixer-upper.
Yeah, well, that's what happens when a dragon blasts it to bits. I mean, we know from Game of Thrones, anybody who knows from the books, that Harrenhal is a fortress that was built to withstand any attack from the land. That you're not gonna, it's almost like the Vale in that regard, that trying to penetrate the castle is going to cost you a lot of lives. You're not just going to take Harrenhal.
And we also learned this season it's the largest castle.
We knew that before too, except for, I'm not sure about the Red Keep. But you're right, actually. Harrenhal might even be larger, I think, than the Red Keep. And it's obviously an important castle. It was weird how he kind of didn't encounter any kind of force or anything. Like, we heard people yell dragon and then they ran, but we didn't. He encountered no enemy forces, walked right up to their dinner table, and then they offered to sit him down, and he didn't eat, which I don't necessarily blame him.
Yeah, it came across to me like it was a seriously neglected, kind of forgotten place.
Yeah, and apparently it's not. I mean, this is where Lord Strong was. This is where Strong, and remember, Rhaenyra's lover, who I can't remember his name now, but they were the Strong line. And remember, Larys had them burned alive inside the castle. So this is now another relation to them, who's now in charge of the castle, who's now the heir. And apparently Harrenhal and all the surrounding kingdoms that it oversees is very much in disarray. Seems like anybody does whatever they want. I mean, we know the battle. We saw the start and then the result of the battle at the Burned Mill. I think it is.
Yeah, the burnt mill.
Yeah, the Battle of Burnt Mill, I think. So, which is two ancient houses who have hated each other for a long time, using this as an excuse, but it's still the same. It's going to be the first battle, the first blood drawn in terms of a large scale battle, at least.
Yeah, and Daemon thinks he's gonna get that place fixed up. That the amount of resources and time that it's going to take to do that is going to be impressive.
And I think that's probably honestly the best place for Daemon, because if the Riverlands are so important, that's where you need him to be. Harrenhal needs to be strong. You need to rally forces. You need to bring forces to defend Harrenhal, and I think he's got the right mindset. And I'm going to hold off on that. Let's jump back to Daemon and where I just left off after we get to another thing later on, because I think that's going to be real important what Daemon's doing. I think that's going to be real important. What else do we want to talk about? You wanted to say something.
I wanted to point out about the fact that Daemon had like a vision or something.
Yeah. How about that? That was something.
Yeah, what do you make of that?
I mean, listen, I don't, spoiler alert, if you're watching this either live or on a rewatch or something, please skip ahead or turn it off, because I'm going to talk about something that's going to be a spoiler. I mean, we know that Damon's going to die.
Yeah.
If we know anything about the books or the story, we know that Damon is going to die. I think it's like foreshadowing. I think he's having visions the way I'm trying to think of how I want to word this. The way he's having visions, because he's not a believer. Viserys, his brother, was a believer of Aegon the Conqueror and the Song of Ice and Fire. He was a believer of that, and so is Rhaenyra. Okay, but Damon's, he doesn't believe in prophecy and vision and any of that stuff. He doesn't believe in any of that stuff. So I think this is like something that's going to be really define his character in some way, whether it drives him mad and over the edge, or it's something that puts him into a place where him and Rhaenyra are eye to eye, like seeing in the same direction now. I don't know the answer to that, but I think I'm not really sure what it is or what it means.
See, I take that differently. I take it more along the lines of he puts off the air and the belief that he doesn't believe or doesn't put stock into that kind of stuff. But I think he puts that image off because the whole concept scares him.
Interesting.
And he doesn't want to give credence to something like that because it scares the pants off him.
He doesn't like that his future or his life might be determined by prophecy.
Correct.
He thinks he's in control, which explains why he goes off the loose end sometimes. Yeah, that's interesting. That's interesting too. Well, I guess we'll have to wait and see. I imagine that's going to be a developing thing there. I imagine he's going to be in Harrenhal for a bit, at least for another episode or two. Time, again, is hard to track in this world. They don't give us a lot in terms of how much time has passed or how long it takes necessarily to travel somewhere. So we can assume that when we see somebody somewhere and them somewhere else, even on a dragon back, that it's going to take them at least a couple of days, likely, or at least a day or so to travel to some places.
I'd also like to point out that I mentioned that, and we just got a thumbs up from somebody. I don't know if that means that they just like what we're talking about, or if they agree with me.
I believe that they liked the video, is what the thumbs up is. Thank you for doing that.
Absolutely.
Please share it out as well. But so yeah, now let's talk about the end, the conversation between Rhaenyra and Alicent.
Yeah, how about that?
Yeah, that was quite interesting that Rhaenyra decided to go in and do this undercover. Like, that's very dangerous for her to try and do that.
Yes. Well, she said that you could have my head.
Yeah, but I'll kill you first.
Yeah, she did throw that in there.
Yeah. So yeah, but the conversation between them, they had, I think Alicent believes Rhaenyra. I think Rhaenyra believed everything Alicent said. And I think for the briefest of moments, Rhaenyra actually thought maybe she's right. Maybe my father did change his mind. And then she asked specifically, I was waiting for it. I'm like, is she going to ask specifically what he said? And when she did, I said, okay, well, let's see where this goes. And when she repeated it, Rhaenyra knew exactly what Viserys was talking about. It was about the vision, the Song of Ice and Fire, not about Aegon, his son, but about Aegon the Conqueror. And I think Alicent believes Rhaenyra. I think she believed her.
Yeah, I think both of them are on the same page now, and both of them completely understand what was supposed to happen. But I now think that they have chosen to continue the path.
One has chosen. Now listen, let's talk about this for a second, because I think, like I said, before she asked about her father's final words, I think Rhaenyra was on the cusp of conceding her point and giving peace and letting Aegon rule. I think for the briefest of moments, right there before she asked what the last words were, or what did he say, that I think she was considering, recusing herself, like giving up her claim, and then going back to Dragonstone, making peace. Like, all right, I'll go back to Dragonstone. I'll tell my bannermen to stand down. I think she was really considering that during their conversation, right before she asked about the final words. I mean, I wish I would have gotten like some pictures or screenshots or something, but we do this so quickly after the show. It's hard to get other stuff up from the episode, but look at her face. Go back and watch that episode and watch that scene, and look at Rhaenyra's face when she says she does believe Alicent. I think she does believe her that
I can see that.
His mind, and she looks defeated. She even looks down. She's looking for anything. That's why she finally asked, what were his last words, or what did he say? Because he was looking for anything. Like, wait a minute. I might be defeated. What else is there? What were his last words then? You know what I mean? Like, she was reaching for anything. And I think that now reaffirms her position. So I think Alicent's the one not willing to yield. She's the one that said, no, it's gone too far now. And I think Rhaenyra, and I don't think Rhaenyra will do it now because she knows now that she is supposed to be the heir because of the Song of Ice and Fire.
Yeah, she received her confirmation.
Yeah, so I think that was an important scene between them, and that takes me back to what Daemon is doing. I think Rhaenyra is going to be glad that Daemon's out there in the Riverlands starting to organize that and bring that together and kind of ruling a little bit with an iron fist. I think Rhaenyra is going to start ruling a little bit more confidently now that she has confirmation that she is the heir.
Here's an interesting question. Do you think that confirmation is going to make her more likely to involve the dragons?
No, I think she'll still be reserved with the dragons. I think she is going to be a firm in going to war now, but I think she will be reserved with going with the dragons because of the Song of Ice and Fire and what her father Viserys said. Her father told her that the dragons cannot go to war against other dragons, that the House of the Dragon needs to be strong for this purpose. So I don't think that she will. I don't think she'll be the first to unleash the dragons. Okay. I think the first use of the dragons is going to come in of course it's happened already with Vhagar killing Vermax.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to happen again like that. I think it'll happen. I think it'll be a war. I think the next battle, it's not going to be so Vhagar's the biggest dragon currently in the world. Okay, Vermax is a really tiny dragon. So I think the next dragon battle we're going to see are two more evenly matched dragons, and then we're going to see a real dragon battle, similar or better than what we saw in the original Game of Thrones when the Night King's dragon fought both Daenerys and Jon Snow's dragons, because that was a gnarly battle too. And I think we're going to see more of that, if not better, battles between dragons.
I mean, I'd also like to point out that Rhaenyra's council seems to be out for blood.
Yeah, they're
all about war at the moment.
Yeah, in their defense, that's their job. They need to be concerned about war. They need to be concerned about the armies and that stuff. But what she decides is what they should be carrying out within, so if what they need is armies, what they need is stock, then they should be working on that within the parameters of what she wants, not attacking. She doesn't want to attack. So gather up your army, gather up the resources, get everybody loaded up and fed. That's what they should be doing. So I think they, in part, they are speaking to her the way they should. But I think once she's made a decision, I think they really need to get a little bit more respect, unless they really believe in something. If they really believe that Rhaenyra should be taking the first shot, I think they need to be preparing defensively first. I don't think that they need to be taking the first shots. I think they need to be preparing defensively. What Daemon is doing. What she sent her son to the north to do. The north is now sending soldiers. The Vale is sending soldiers. So
see, I
Go ahead.
kind of suspect that her counsel's going to do something behind her back.
Well, Damon already did that. You know, the next person's getting burned or losing their head. Like Damon got a pass because they're married. He's the father of some of her children. She needs him as a dragon rider. He got a pass. Okay. The next one won't. The next one will get hung, quartered, burned, eaten, whatever it is.
Doesn't mean that they don't make that decision.
Yeah. Well, see, I think now with her reconfirmation, I think she's going to be more in military mode now. I think the reason she hasn't been wanting to act because she still was unsure. Maybe her father did change his mind. I think she's really was unsure until this conversation with Allison. I think she was still unsure, and now she's sure. And now I think I think that's what this takes me back again to Damon. I think Rhaenyra and Damon now are going to be aligned. I think they're going to be looking in the same direction with the same objectives. I think now Damon's ruthless, and Rhaenyra is not. So there's that difference. But I think they're both going to be looking in the same direction now. That this is going to be a war, and it's time to it's time to go. It's a war, and it's time to get us ready. And because this is not going to be a quick one. This is going to be a long, bloody war, and it's time to get ready now. I think Damon has already been thinking that. I think Rhaenyra has been unsure up until this point. I think the next episode we're going to see a Rhaenyra in full military mode.
Well, next week's going to be another episode, and I think it's going to be an interesting one. I think next week we start to see a shift. We'll start to see a swing in the way people are approaching things, and I think we're going to start seeing it pick up pace a little bit.
Yeah, I think so too. I very much think so too. I think it's the pace is definitely about to pick up here. We're going to see some more battles, and like I said, I think we might even see a dragon battle yet before the end of this season.
So who do you think's going to draw the next dragon blood?
I wouldn't even know how to speculate. Perhaps Damon, although the King's really gung-ho about it too. And I think we're going to need to see where Rhaenyra's at. So I think it'll be Team Black. It'll be Damon and Rhaenyra. They'll be for the next ones that draw dragon blood, if you want, whether it's not necessarily by accident, but if it's in the course of, we're flying and then another dragon's there and then they battle, or it's during a land battle and they use their dragon against another army or something, I think it'll probably be Team Black. And it even might be Damon. Damon is probably the front runner for Team Black.
How about the girl that spotted the
we should talk about her. Yeah, the Lord Eric coming to assassinate Rhaenyra. Now she wants a place. I wasn't sure. Last week we didn't talk about it. We kind of mentioned it, but we didn't really speculate on whether or not did she see him or did she report it or did she not. Now we know this week that she did report it, and now she's parlaying that into a place on the Queen's court.
Actually, that wasn't even where I was going with that, but that is a good point.
Okay, where were you going with it?
I was talking about the girl that was riding the dragon that spotted the knights in the open field.
Yeah, Bela, I think. Lena and Bela, I think. Yeah, Lena is going with her son across the narrow sea to the free cities with dragon eggs and her dragon. Which, let's come back to that because I want to ask you about that decision too. I think the fact that she spotted him, I thought she was going for the kill, but she wasn't going for the kill. She was just going to look at him and to scare the living, out of them.
I think she wanted to, though.
Yeah, but I think she would have obeyed. She doesn't seem like someone that's going to go rogue. So I think she had her shot. She could have easily burned through those woods. She didn't have to be that low to get them to catch them on fire. She could have stayed higher, followed them in, stayed above the tree line, and just torched the entire forest underneath her right there. She would have gotten them. But that's why I was curious. I was wondering while watching the episode, why is she so low? She's going to have to pull up for the trees. Why wouldn't she just come down and then burn at the edge and then just follow them into the forest? The chance of you getting them is going to be very high. And it was because she wasn't supposed to engage. She was just scaring the poop out of them and getting a look at them. So the fact that she saw it was Sir Kristen Cole, dude, that's an eye.
Yeah, I suspect that we're going to see her involved in perhaps the next dragon conflict.
Oh, you think so?
Yeah.
Yeah, she could. She might have to defend herself, maybe, or something. Or she might get bold. I don't know yet. Like I said, it all depends on where Rhaenyra is at in the next episode. I think that's going to dictate a lot. I think Damon's going to do what he's always going to do, regardless of Rhaenyra's mood. But I think if Rhaenyra's mood has shifted and she's reaffirmed that she is the heir, then I think things are about to get real organized. And I also think we're going to see her keep her people in check. And one last point I would like to point out: what are your thoughts on her appointing Rhaenys as her hand? She has not appointed a hand that I have seen. Have you seen her appoint a hand?
I have not.
That's what I'm saying. She has not appointed a hand yet. I would love for that to be for her to give Rhaenys the badge.
Kind of headed that way, isn't it?
Oh man, the way she looks, the way she addressed the council,
yeah.
Like I would love to see her wear the hand badge. I would love to see that. That would make me excited.
I think she'd be good at it.
Two people who don't want to burn the countryside trying to make it work. Yeah, I think that would be a great thing to see. Really awesome. And Rhaenys, I think Rhaenys is another front runner. She could be someone who's involved. If Team Green decides to attack first, you're either going to go after Daemon's dragon or you're going to go after Rhaenys' dragon, because they're the two largest that they have. So if you're going to target the other side's dragons, you're going to hit one of those. So that's why I think it'll be Daemon or Rhaenys that'll be the next. Because I don't know how much we're going to see Rhaenyra on Dragonback, not unless it's really important, and likely not without some guards around her. And I mean dragon riders around her with other dragons. But yeah, I guess we'll have to see next week. Tune in next week. We do these every Sunday night, roughly 20 to 30 minutes after the episode ends. So please tune in, leave us a comment. We'd like to get some viewers viewing us live and do some fan interaction, viewer interaction and stuff. So please tune in and share this out. If you're watching the reshow, if you're not watching live, please share it out. We're trying to grow everything about Mayhem Media, including our series. And stay tuned. It's going to be the summer of Mayhem. There's going to be a lot of things happening. We got our Olympic coverage coming in August. That'll be coming, I believe, that this series, I think, runs almost all the way up until when we're going to be doing our Olympic coverage. And then, of course, the Joe Monroe show's got a lot of things happening over there. And then we're going to be launching Into the Barricade will be back. And then we're going to be launching another show in August. So this is going to be pretty much the summer of Mayhem. Stay tuned to all of our brands and all of our shows. And please support us, share it out, hit that like button. Anything else you want to add, Mizpah?
No, I think we pretty much covered it.
Visit the storefront. There's another week or so on the storefront. Will be on JD Designs. I'm wearing a JD Design shirt tonight. Bonfire.com/store/JDE Designs. That's with a Z at the end of it. And pick up some apparel. It'll be the last week before Mayhem has its own storefront. So pick one up now before they're gone. Till next week, for Mizpah, I am your host, JD, and this has been After the Dragon. And that's the end.
Good night.